The Rays sweep the Mets in Queens and have now won 18 of their last 24 and are surging in the AL East, only 3.5 games back from the New York Yankees from first place. Let's talk about how this weekend series is a tone setter for the rest of the season.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into another episode of the Locked On Rays podcast. My name is Ulises Sambrano, and on behalf of Kevin Weiss, we are the hosts of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. What a weekend that was. We are going to be talking about that sweep of the Mets in Queens, of course, and we have little takeaways from each game, and we're going to go through them in each segment, starting with game one on Friday evening. We'll move on to game two on segment two, and finally on game three for the last few minutes of the show. So, my gosh, on Friday, the Rays rally late and they get to take the opener 7-4. They didn't panic. The team didn't panic even when they fell behind early. You saw a little bit of poise, a little bit of depth, key RBI hits from Taylor Walls, Josh Lowe, to turn it around. I think when you look at this series coming in, we talked about this on Friday's episode with Evan Klosky. The idea was this is a barometer. If the Mets are the best team in MLB right now, what can you do against them? And this was just such a statement. I think this was the strongest statement you could have done, that they've done probably throughout the season. I think one of the low points in the season was that sweep against the Phillies at home. Kevin and I were in attendance to different games in that series, and it was just rock bottom. And then you have something like this weekend where a team that has just been scorching hot and you don't care. You go in there in their home and sweep them. And on Friday, Drew Rasmussen, again, he did face some traffic, but he was solid despite that traffic. The bullpen locked it down. I do want to say that the Mets made mistakes with the walks and the wild pitches, but who cares? I mean, when the other team makes these mistakes, the Rays have to make them pay, and that's exactly what they did. And that's not only a good DNA for the Rays to have, that's a good DNA for any team to have. You know, if the other side makes mistakes, you got to capitalize on them. And the Rays usually haven't been able to capitalize in the last year and a half, but it seems like that trend might be going the right way lately, which is good. We need to see that. And I think Kevin Cash on the post game, he did praise the team for their composure and their execution. I think the quote says, we didn't let the early deficit rattle us. The guys stayed locked in, took quality at bats, and found a way to flip the momentum. And on the team effort, Drew Rasmussen quoted saying, "It's awesome to see everyone contributing from the bullpen to the bench guys. It really was a total team win." And that's exactly what you need. The Rays are not going to be like the Yankees, where you're led by Aaron Judge and everybody else just follows. Like the Rays don't have that. Everybody has to contribute. Everybody has to put their little effort in each team win. And you saw that on Friday. You don't give in. You capitalize on mistakes, and you take the early game of the series without really playing at your best. Like it wasn't a clean win by any means, but you got the W. And right now, we've been stressing this a lot lately in this podcast. And if you're watching daily, first of all, thank you. Hit that like button. We like that. But I've been trying to stress that you have to put a little bit of separation now between that 500 line and create a cushion. And by creating a cushion, you can do that. Right now, they stand at 39 and 32. That's 7 games over 500. If you are able to keep increasing that cushion, now you're no longer that middling 500 team, and you can start to think not only of the playoffs, but can you be effective during those playoffs? We've seen, unfortunately, how the last few years that it really hasn't been the case, where you get swept, if it's the Guardians, if it's the Rangers, and you kind of need to turn that around. You can do that by having these collective wins where everybody can put their 1% into that bucket of that W. And that's what we saw on Friday night. Very much needed that win. I think when you come into Queens and you're facing the likes of Pete Alonso with like a 1,000 OPS, and you have Juan Soto, an eventual Hall of Famer, you have Francisco Lindor, it's daunting. And to come out that way, it was incredibly impressive for that Friday night win. And good for Taylor Walls for getting that a key RBI hit. I think that's what you need from the bottom of the lineup, right? Matt Weiss stepping up. So, yeah, great team win on Friday. It was one of three to come. So let's talk about that second game. But first, we got to tell you about something very important. If you're running a business, you know that every missed call is money left on the table. Nobody likes that. Think about the last time you had a service emergency, and if the first plumber didn't answer, guess what? Did you wait? No, you didn't. You called the next one. And that's why having a reliable business line is so important. And that's why you need Open Phone. Open Phone is the #1 business phone system that helps you streamline and scale customer communication all from an app on your phone or computer. Maybe you juggle two phones. Hey, guess what? You don't need to do that. The coolest thing about living in 2025 is that you can use technology to help you. And in this case, with OpenPhone, there's an AI agent that handles after-hour calls, answers common questions, and captures leads so that you never have to miss another customer ever again. So, OpenPhone is offering right now Locked On Rays listeners 20% off your first 6 months at openphone.com/lockedonmlb. That's openphone.com/lockedonmlb. And if you have existing numbers with another service, guess what? Open Phone will port them over at no extra charge. No extra charge means $0. So again, Open Phone, no missed calls, no miss customers. Okay, moving on to game 2 of the weekend on Saturday. The Rays win 8-4. The Bats, my goodness. It doesn't matter if it's home runs or small ball, as long as you get those runs in. And that's what happened with a big inning, a 5-run fourth inning. The Rays sent 11 to the plate. Home run, squeeze bunts, walks, hit by pitches, wild pitch, everything that you can imagine. And the Rays had it that inning. I really like this quote with Cash regarding that fourth inning. He says, "When we get our speed involved, the offense can be pretty tough to defend. It felt like the guys we had on base, there was a lot of traffic." Again, don't misinterpret what I'm about to say, but this team can get even faster. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a guy in AAA that we just got a little glimpse of who is the fastest man in baseball. So the fact that Kevin Cash is saying, yeah, that was a fast team right there, this team can get even faster. It can get even more chaotic on the base paths. And we saw that. And you take the Friday game, you collect this 5-run fourth inning. I mean, the dugout must have been just oozing with confidence. And I think Brendan Lau said that after the game, everyone is trying to figure out why we're winning. We're just playing good baseball on pretty much all fronts. Everything has to come together. The bullpen has to do their job. The starters have to be able to give you a solid start. The big guys have to be stepping up. And the auxiliary parts in the lineup also can be, secure automatic outs. And that's something that we have complained about at times during the season. And it was really nice to see all of that kind of go away. And I feel like when you win this Saturday game, everything is changes from, oh, we won the series, to, can you sweep? Because that's just human nature, right? You you always want the next level. So I saw it on social media. Everybody got excited for the win for like 30 seconds, but the next thing was like, but can they sweep them? And so that's pretty cool. That the Rays have gotten to be so good that we expect more and more. And that's not only the fans. Let's remember what Eric Neander said last year after October. He said that was disappointing, and we don't just expect to be a playoff team and a wild card team and be happy with that. We want more. It's a culture thing with the Rays. It comes from the top, and that radiates down the players, down the coaches, and ultimately down to the fandom. We want more. So that's why when you beat the Mets in Queens Friday, then you come back on Saturday. If you win that game, you've won the series. What is everybody just thinking now? Can you take the series? Can you sweep the Mets? And that's such a good mindset to have. They want more. We want more. So that's why when you move on to Sunday and you have a Shane Baz that was quite solid. I mean, he shoved 6 2/3, no earned runs, 6 Ks, striking out Alonso with bases loaded on a 99.2 mile an hour heater. Just nails. And on Father's Day, just an emotional moment, talking about his dad afterwards. And it wasn't only him. Shane Baz said, I was going to let it all out there. I wasn't going to go hold back or try to be too perfect. I was going to throw a fastball, and it worked out, and it did. And regarding Father's Day, he said, you don't understand it at the time, but the money that my dad spent on me was special. Very cool how he was able to give that gift basically to his dad. And he wasn't the only one. Junior Caminero, he got a second home run of the series in front of his dad. And he is heating up. The Father's Day quote for Junior was pretty cool. He said, I've been in a bad funk, but thank God I was able to hit the ball today. It's my father's here, and hopefully I'm able to have good games. That's so cool. I think you see all of the parts of the lineup trending up, trending the right way. That's why Brandon Lau said we're just playing good baseball. This team can't survive if the sum of the parts are not carrying their own weight. Not one dude is going to be carrying the load. And Jonathan Aranda, my gosh, 2-run double. And I think this is what I loved most out of all the quotes that I've read you guys today. Jonathan Aranda said, the Yankees, they are on top of our division. So the rivalry is there, and we are coming to get that number one spot. The Mets came in with the best record, and they left with 3 straight L's. It's just, I don't think this sweep was just 3 wins. I think this is a statement. This is a message of the Rays believing in themselves, and the fandom, ergo, has to believe in them, and they're officially in the mix for the AL East right now. 3.5 games on June 16th. That's anybody's division. Again, I don't believe in standings until August. Maybe that's a little bit of a hot take or hyperbole, but really, if you saw what happened September of 2011 as a Rays fan, how can you care about standings before August? I mean, I'm sure the front office does, of course. I know some fans do, but we saw the impossible. We saw magic. So how can a 3.5 game lead on June 16th mean anything to me? It doesn't. It's in play, baby. AL East is in play. And we're going to talk about that much more But first, we got to tell you something very important. Got to tell you about Supply House. My goodness, you can get all the supplies you need, okay? Because they have everything made for the skilled trades, whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, you name it. Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy to use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done, right? And if you need help with any order, Supply House offers expert support, an industry leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. Don't you hate that in the year 2025, sometimes you don't have a real person to talk to? Well, guess what? Supply House knows that, and they're there for you in person. And if you join their Trade Master program that offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order, you can get all the help that you need. So today, join the Trade Master program at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. Again, that's supplyhouse.com. So let's talk about what we all want to talk about is that AL East. 3.5 games away from the Yankees, who are in first place. The Rays are going to be facing the Baltimore Orioles this week. It's those 3 games, okay? They showed 3 different ways to win. They rallied late, they exploded in the middle, and they locked it down early. Everything you ever wanted to see for the Rays, you saw that this weekend. So it's a complete team. So can this complete team do something against the AL East? Yankees slipping. They got swept by the Boston Red Sox, who now do not have Rafael Devers anymore. Traded to San Francisco Giants. That's a lot to digest if you're a Red Sox fan, isn't it? So the AL East right now, currently, the Rays are 3.5 games back from the Yankees, who are leading the division. The Toronto Blue Jays are smelling the race right behind them at 4.5. The Red Sox are at 6.5, who are over 500, and the Baltimore Orioles, who are 6-4 in their last 10, they're 30-40. They're 12 games back of the Yankees. Now, the Orioles did start pretty bad, but they've kind of picked it up of late, and I don't think this is a team that you need to don't play down to the competition. I know you came in hot against the Mets and you were able to get those 3 wins and you showed what you can do. Don't let up. Don't let up. Just keep going so you're able to elongate that very important cushion from being a 500 team. The American League is not so deep. The American League is not the American League of the past. You can make yourself a contender if you keep going the way that you are. I mean, let's remind folks. I think they're doing it quite quietly by league standards, but the Rays have won 18 out of their last 24 games. I'll take that any day. They have turned their season around by this 18-6 stretch. So can they keep pushing that pedal against the Baltimore Orioles? They're not the team that we all thought they were. The pitching has not been good for them. Zach Eflin, Rays legend, is going to be pitching at the Steinbrenner Field. And I am wondering if Rays fans are going to be remembering that quote by Eflin when he was traded to the Orioles, where he kind of just gave it against fans, saying that Rays fans are just quiet and they don't really support the team. Do you guys think if you're going to this game and Zach Eflin is pitching, are you going to let him hear it? I would. If he can say something, I can say something. Obviously never a personal thing, but I'd hear the boos. I'd let the boos, show him up. I'd make it uncomfortable for him to be on that bump. Those 10,046 people, hopefully, that are going to be in the stadium. Most of them should be Rays fans. The Orioles are not having a great season, so you're probably not going to see a lot of Orioles fans. Let them hear it. Make them comfortable. Make that your home. Make that an uncomfortable place for away teams to visit. I'm sure they're not used to the drop, quote unquote, level of major league amenities to what is offered at Steinbrenner Field, even though Steinbrenner Field was the best option. Well, make it uncomfortable for them on the field by the booze and by everything else. I think that's in our right as a fandom. And I don't know if they will, the audience, but hopefully they do. If I were there, I would definitely do that. But currently in Central Europe, I'm not able to go to the game. So hopefully those of you who are going to Steinbrenner Field and let Zach Eflin know we miss him, quote unquote. No, we miss him. It's going to be an exciting week of baseball. I think we're all very excited about what this team can now do after that showing in Queens. Should be very exciting. I have no doubt that the AL East is in play. And I know it's early, but because it's early, we can have hope. 3.5 games is nothing on June 16th. It is nothing. Again, the Yankees just got swept by a Boston Red Sox team who wasn't having a great season. Anything can happen in a weekend series, right? But sweeping a team, it is difficult. So I don't know. I'm happy about this weekend. I know you guys are too. My smile from ear to ear probably tells you that I did have fun having that weekend against the Mets. I'm just excited about what we can do with this team, and it can get better. Hopefully, it can get better with a little bit more consistency, and that's what they've shown in their last 24 games, going 18-6. Consistency, showing up, and all the auxiliary parts doing what they need to do in order for this team to move forward. Because this team needs to move forward with all the pieces. There's no Aaron Judge. There's no Shohei Ohtani pulling the truck. I know Junior Caminero can hopefully become that guy in the future. But let's not put that much pressure right now on a kid. I know he's having a great surge of power this year. I'm personally not going to put the onus that the offense is on him. Let him cook. Let him grow up within the game. And hopefully we can get a Junior Caminero that ends up being that guy. But if you look at those numbers, people, not only the standings, look at what the offensive numbers look for the lineup lately. They're all improving, people. They're all improving. So that should give us a lot to be happy about. We have hopefully a very cool episode for you this week. I don't want to spoil anything, but we'll be back together hopefully this week. There might be a little bit of changes during the schedule, given the time differences that we're going to be having this week. But other than that, thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every single day. You guys don't know how much that means to both me and Kevin. For your second listen, why don't you go to our pal Sully and listen to Locked On MLB and check out Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long, local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to those podcasts.